Hi y'all, what's up? It's your boy Melted. Welcome to a video. Um, I kind of had an Elden Ring video recorded, and then I found out that the audio was coming out my webcam instead of my actual mic, and it sounded like shit. And I don't really want to give you guys completely shit content, because I mean it's not the best right now, but I'm giving you the best that I could right now. So I just feel like if I was to post that, it wouldn't be right to you guys. So, with that being said, um, I'm just gonna give you guys a reaction video and call it a day. Alright, let's get into this video. Elden Ring, Nightreign, what class should you play?
Elden Ring Nightreign brings back a bunch of bosses from the past, but the 8 playable classes are completely new. They're also very different from one another, so it might be tricky to figure out which one is right for you. This video will
Yeah,
explain how
they
each
talking about
class
8
works
bosses.
and give some
So
recommendations
far,
based on your
obviously, I
playstyle.
haven't finished. I mean, I haven't played too much of it. I mean, I've only done one run.
First up
Unfortunately,
is
couldn't
the
get it out for you
Wilder,
guys, but
who's more or less the face of the game. As Willy Elden Ring, the Wilder
couldn't really. But I haven't unlocked the last two, so let's see.
is an all-arounder who's generally good at most things. That said, he's best served as a mobile melee attacker. His grappling hook yoinks smaller targets closer and pulls him up to larger foes, meaning you can zip right up to the enemy's face. The grappling hook even counts as a hit for the sake of reviving a downed teammate. Furthermore, Wilder's passive lets him survive one fatal blow, staying at 1 HP instead. And for an ultimate, he has a big blast of fire that deals a chunk of damage, even more if he charges it up first. Nightreign has a few different melee-focused classes, but the Wilder is ideal for beginners. His highest stats are strength and dexterity, so you'll want to load up with one-handed swords, daggers, and the like. For a ranged option, you can carry around a bow. For the more defensive-minded player, the Guardian is a great choice. This Nightfarer starts with a great shield, and his
The fucking Guardian is literally a bird, like humanized bird. My man's got a human body, or a body with a bird head. Like what? Shit is crazy.
passive lets him assume a special defensive stance. It has a lower move speed, but it blocks even more damage. If your foes get too close or you find yourself surrounded, then your Whirlwind ability is great for knocking them all back. It's also great at quickly clearing weak mobs of enemies and collecting a handful of runes while you're on the way to another point of interest. The Guardian's ultimate is a dive bomb that also does some good AoE damage upon impact. But more importantly, when you hold down the right trigger, it creates a protective circle on the ground that blocks basically all damage. It's a great way to endure a particularly nasty boss attack, and you can hold the landing longer to maintain the circle.
Chat, let me tell you something though, real quick. If you play this game right, and you make it to the night 3 is strictly a boss fight. It's not like night 1 and 2 where you're still running around. Night 3, you're strictly fighting the night boss or the night, whatever the fuck his name is. Beast of the Night, Gladius, right? That's strictly who you're fighting. Bro, me, and Ra, we made it to the end. We had a random, bro. That shit is not like cheese, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, like. But it was our first playthrough, so it's like, it's understandable that we somehow, I mean, not somehow. Obviously, you don't want to lose ever, but it's understandable that we lost. You really gotta lock in when you play that shit. I ain't gonna lie to you, because that shit is not like cheese. And let's watch this video so you could know who to play. Or
This also keeps the squad protected if you need to revive someone who's gone down. If you'd rather raise your shield than actively dodge attacks, then the Guardian is for you. This class is for the Nightreign player who wants to keep themselves and others safe. As such, you should always make sure you have a shield equipped, whether it's a large great shield or something smaller with a decent buff. For a weapon, longer polearms and spears are great choices. That way you can poke out from behind your shield without getting too close. Your highest stat is strength, but you should always make sure you keep a shield in one hand. Two-handing is for some other classes. Now for a more nimble character. The Iron Eye is Nightreign's resident archer, so right off the bat, if you like attacking with bows, this is by far your best option. The Iron Eye attacks from a distance, and those arrows are also super useful for reviving your teammates without needing to be right next to them. That said, you can dash through an enemy and mark them with your main ability, which makes them take extra damage for a brief time. It's better to keep your distance, but this gives you a good maneuver whenever someone gets too close. The dash itself also has a bunch of invulnerability frames, which makes it great to avoid taking damage from attacks that have tricky dodge timings. What's more, your ultimate is one big powerful arrow that does massive damage no matter what sort of defenses the enemy has up. As you're building your loadout, you should obviously focus on bows that utilize your high dex, but it doesn't hurt to have a close range option like a dagger or rapier for anyone who gets too close. Finally, the Iron Eye's passive increases item drops for the whole party. So if you like using the bow and arrow and want to support the team from a comfortable distance, the Iron Eye is the way to go.
Can't wait to see
The
that
Raider
stream
might
for
be
the
the
first time.
polar
What the
opposite
fuck?
of the Iron Eye.
That shit is back
this melee
too.
class is meant to stand directly in front of the enemy at all times. In fact, his passive and active abilities work together to make him extra tanky. When you use Retaliate, you'll plant your feet and stomp the ground twice, doing a bit of AoE damage. But the real value of this skill is the fact that you take dramatically mitigated damage throughout the duration, and your passive makes it uninterruptible. Even better, once you take a certain amount of damage, the second stomp will be replaced by a giant wind-up punch that can stagger even the largest enemies and interrupt their attack, much like an ultimate would. Speaking of ultimates, the Raiders summons a massive pillar that explodes out of the ground. This thing does damage and creates the perfect sniper perch for range classes like the Iron Eye until it goes away.
So it's
Even
like a
better,
combo,
it
like a
gives
1-2
everyone
hit.
around it an attack damage buff. And it can also get in the enemy's way, blocking attacks and even totally throwing off the direction of some of the boss's biggest moves. The Raider is for players who want to both give and receive big damage. If you like melee and don't mind taking a few hits of your own along the way, the Raider is a great choice. It's also the way to go if you want to utilize your strength to wield heavy two-handed weapons. Hammers and greatswords are extra deadly in the Raider's hands. Okay, we're halfway through the video now, but all you witches and wizards can relax. The Recluse is Nightreign's chief spellcaster. If you like magic more than regular weapons, here you go. The spells you cast as the Recluse depend on the gear you find during your run, but the main thing to watch out for is your FP. Nightreign doesn't have nearly as many consumable items for restoring your magic meter. Instead, you can use your character skill, Magic Defense. When you see this circle on an enemy, executing your special move absorbs FP and fills one of the 3 little circles on the bottom of the screen. That's part of your passive. When all 3 circles are full, you can unleash a magic cocktail, the effects of which differ depending on the magic power you absorbed. This could deal damage, buff the party, or even heal the whole gang. What's more, the Recluse's ultimate puts a blood mark on nearby enemies and bosses. Attacking a target with this mark refills your HP and FP. As for the best ways to use that FP, the Recluse is great for all sorceries and incantations thanks to her high intelligence and faith. Spells are attached to specific staffs and seals, and you should be on the lookout for the ones we're putting up on the screen right now. Those are going to be your most powerful options. The Recluse is much more of a juggling act than your standard Elden Ring caster, but if you can manage your FP well and you're good at building passives over the course of a run, you can unleash a rain of powerful spells while keeping yourself juiced. Some of Nightreign's classes have clear counterparts, and the Executor is basically this game's version of Wolf from Sekiro. The core ability is a cursed sword you can draw at any time. While in this special stance, the Executor moves super slowly, but can deflect incoming attacks with proper timing. Doing so can stagger even the biggest bosses, and every deflection powers up the sword with holy energy. This buffs the sword, and allows you to execute a powerful holy energy swipe with the press of the left trigger when it's fully charged. If you're a player who loves to go toe-to-toe with parries, the Executor is for you. As the icing on the cake, the Executor also gets buffed every time he recovers from a status ailment like poison or frostbite, thanks to his passive ability. For an ultimate, he can transform into a giant beast with its own extra long health bar and strong claw attacks. It's great for taking
This
large
is
chunks
the
of health out of a
other
boss
character
or
I've
clearing
used.
out a bunch of weaker enemies all at once.
Like,
But
obviously
be
first
aware
you
that
use
you
Wilder,
can still
because
die
he's
while in
literally the
beast
first
form.
character.
Where the
Yeah.
Raider is meant to
But
two-hand
this is
heavy
where I went
weapons,
to.
the Executor is best served by using dex blades like katanas. You can carry one in each hand or focus on a single blade the same way you'd wield your cursed sword. It's also worth mentioning that the Executor's starting sword is among the best across all the Nightfarers. It causes bleed from the start, making it a great weapon to upgrade with smithing stones. There might not be a lot of synergy between these moves, but at the end of the day, the Executor is built for parries. And trust me, they feel so good to pull off. Now we come to the Duchess, who you may be surprised to learn actually has an A in intelligence scaling and a B in dex faith scaling, making her kind of a magical rogue type class. In
I haven't
addition to
unlocked her
poking
yet.
enemies with dexy
yet.
daggers and rapiers, she can also make use of the same spells we recommended for the Recluse. Dodging as the Duchess is very different from the other classes, because her passive is an extended dodge that gives you a second hop. It really comes in clutch when it comes to some of the game's most dangerous AoEs. For an active ability, the Duchess can essentially repeat the last 2 seconds worth of attacks by replaying the moment with her pocket watch. Once activated, a
The fuck you mean she could do that? What does that even mean? Genuinely, what does that even mean? I guess.
phantom of the enemy will briefly flash and they will take half of all the damage they just received. You can use it pretty frequently, but it's the perfect follow-up to any critical hit, bleed proc, or ultimate. Speaking of which, the Duchess can make the party invisible for a limited time. In battle, this means enemies won't be able to target anyone. While exploring, it lets you slip past a
Oh, that
boss
big
or
ass
heavily
shit.
guarded area you're not ready for. Just note that once you start dealing damage to an enemy, they'll know you're there even if they can't see you. The Duchess is an intelligence dex hybrid fighter with some really cool support moves, plus the flexibility to do both melee and spellcasting playstyles. So if you want to deal your own damage while giving the party little boosts along the way, give this class a shot. Finally, we have the Revenant. Did you like
Revenant.
using those spirit ashes in Elden Ring? Then this class is for you. She's a summoner. You won't be bringing out any mimic tears in Nightreign,
Aw,
but she
boo.
can summon Helen the Swordmaster, Frederick the Pumpkinhead, or Sebastian the Skeleton.
Look at my
yes,
son Sebastian.
those are their real names, and you can only summon one at a time. That said, the Revenant's passive automatically raises the spirit of one fallen enemy after each encounter. So anytime you beat a mob or clear a camp, one of those guys will rise again to fight for you for a little while. For an ultimate, the Revenant lets out a death scream that does a little AoE damage, but also protects the party. For as long as her icon is active, everyone will be protected from fatal blows. Instead of dying, their HP will never drop below 1. This can really save your bacon in a tough fight. While these abilities are unique to the Revenant, she is also a strong caster with high faith and decent intelligence. Be on the lookout for the same kinds of spells we recommended throughout this guide. If you need a melee weapon, you can choose any lightweight blade. The Revenant feels unique even among the creative classes in Nightreign, but if you want to try some more experimental strategies or just bring a few extra buddies into battle, she's worth checking out. If you've already made up your mind about which class to play but still need help with the game's difficult bosses, we can help you with that too. Just visit our wiki on IGN.
Type shit. Damn, Brett. Look at my fucking face, chat. Well, you can't. Alright, chat. That was a good video. Now you learned who to use in Nightreign, you know what I'm saying? Based on your playstyle. Shout out to that. Shit. One thing I gotta say about that video is it'll definitely be useful. Now I know how to use Executor, you know what I'm saying? Because I was loading in with Executor and I didn't know how to use him. That's on me. That's on me. I didn't even know. Well, I knew he could parry, but like it was weird because I had two swords, so it was like I was using both, and I couldn't really. So every time I pulled out the curse shit, I was never parrying it with. So I mean, with it, I said with yeah, I don't know. But with that being said, yeah, have a great night, phenomenal evening, great morning, whenever you watching this, have a great rest of your day, and if you're sleeping, have a good night. With that being said, keep God in your life, keep grinding, control things you can control, and let God take the rest. Yeah, have a nice one again. I don't know why I said it again, but I'm out. Peace.